The next is the appointment of the controller, and there's no name. I'm going to move that we appoint Michael Stranka as controller for this year, January 1/11 through 12/31/11. Is there a second? You want to tell me what's going on?
What happens with there's no second? Is that over?
And then we move on.
Okay.
I moved.
I do have, I would like to talk about the control position at this time. We do have an opportunity to go in a different direction with this position. We are looking at this as a purely financial savings for the town. Most of you have heard me talk about, we're still digging out of the 400 plus. Al and I were left in the red when we first got here. We're doing well. It looks like to me that we're going to be 50 or 60 in the red at the end of 2010 with a little luck, without having raised taxes in any of those years. And I'm very, very confident that we will be in the black in 2011, having, again, not raised taxes in any of the 4 years that we sat on this board. Wherever I go and I speak about how well we're doing in North Greenbush, people ask me, how the heck did you guys do that? And I give them some of the ways we've been able to save literally hundreds of thousands of dollars per year for the town of North Greenbush, while continuing to not only give the services we always have, but in some cases improve the services. We have an opportunity with the controller's situation to actually save the town $60,000 or $70,000 this coming year. The controller himself brought to our attention not too long ago that really was only a part-time position. Having looked into it, several of the board members, we found that yes, in fact, it probably is, and it certainly is a part-time position. We have looked at this. We are going to, or I'm going to nominate, propose that we put John Harkin in this position, unsalaried. He has agreed to do this on a volunteer basis. He used to be the town controller. He used to come in after his full-time job and do it in the evening. He's agreed to do that again, and so with this resolution, the savings for the town of North Greenbush in 2011 will be approximately $65,000 plus. So that is my resolution, and I'm looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Assessor.
Any discussion? I'm really concerned about this because, one, though there have been concerns expressed about Mr. Stranka, he also has proven himself. He has straightened out the budget. He's been a central person in straightening out all the books and records of the town. His offer of going on part-time was going on 30 hours a week, a commitment to 30 hours a week, which is just 5 hours less than what normal work week is, which is 35 in this town. I can't believe that Mr. Harkin, on top of the job that he has now, can do justice to doing the books and doing all the reports and all the and providing all the information that the board and others want in an unsalaried part-time type of situation. When's he going to do it? If he's working full-time as an assessor and is out and about and doing what he needs to be doing as an assessor, which is going to become more and more important as the economy recovers and the town starts clicking on. What we're going to end up having to do is hiring accounting firms, and we're going to end up spending at certainly close to the amount of money that would have cost to keep Michael Stranka on for this year. really am shocked at this, and obviously I wasn't included in the discussions that everyone else had about this, and I think this is totally unfair. It was never discussed with Michael Strenka, as far as I know. Are you saying that as of tomorrow the man doesn't have a job? Is that what this is meaning? I can't believe that you're this cold and you're doing this and ignoring everything that he's done for this town, no matter what, what small problems they're happening. I cannot believe this is happening. Any other discussion?
Well, we would have liked to do this differently, give him more notice. However, the last time we eliminated a job, we were criticized for informing the person ahead of time that the job is being eliminated. So if we did it wrong the last time, then we're trying to do it right this time. It can't have it both ways. So, we were, as I said, roundly criticized for telling a former employee before there was a board vote. And as much as we wanted to do it this time, we said no. We don't have the authority to do anything until we get together as a board and vote. So that's what we're doing tonight. Not the best way from a human resources standpoint, but forced into it.
I don't understand what you're talking about, forced into it.
Well, which would you rather we told him 2 weeks ago, before we had the authority, before we had taken a vote, before we had met and discussed it? Would that have been preferable?
I don't know where we've met and discussed it.
We're doing that right now.
Okay, we're doing it very publicly right now.
Well, how should we have done it?
Personnel matter, executive session.
Give me an alternative.
Alternative would have been to call an executive session and to ask Michael to come in and discuss your concerns with him and see whether you could come to some accommodation with him.
We never said there were any concerns with him. We said this was a budgetary move.
It is not a budgetary move. It's a budgetary move. And please explain to me how John Harkin, who has a full-time job, and on the assumption that he is working full-time in that full-time job, can also take on a part-time job, unsalaried, to do the job that Mr. Strength is doing.
John did it for at least 10 years during the 90s. He had a full-time job with the State Office of Real Property Services, and he was the controller for the town of North Greenbush. In a part-time position, he came in evenings and did what he had to do. He had an excellent staff. I think we have an excellent staff right now, and I think it worked very well. The town was in excellent financial shape. John deserves some of the credit for that, and I think we're looking to go back to that model.
With a $10 million budget in the 90s, which is what we have now.
Budget was smaller.
Quite a bit.
Quite frankly, if we continued on the road that we were on in '07, we'd probably be $1 million in debt at this point. So, Josephine, you haven't agreed with anything we've done in the last year here. 75% of what we've done, you voted against. That's okay. I'm not saying you're wrong on that's your way of looking at things. We have dug our heels in deep for 3 years now. We've made a lot of tough decisions. These are not easy decisions to make. I, for one, had a first night that I lost sleep in a long time was last night. I resent the fact that you say it's not. It's a $70,000 savings for the town. Every move that this board has made in the last 3 years has saved this town money. We are in the worst recession of our lives, and we took over a $400,000 debt of free spending, tax and spend politics, political people, some of your allies, before we got here. We've been trying to do what's right for the people. This is not about hurting anyone. We don't answer to anyone but the people of North Greenbush. We need to get North Greenbush in the black. We need to get it in the black, and we need to keep it in the black. And this is one of the ways we can do this.
And Mr. Strenka was one of the primary people you relied upon to help you get to where we're at now. I wasn't around 3 years ago, so I can't speak to what the budget was like then or what the mess was like then. All I know is that over the last 3 years, the books have gotten straightened out. They have gotten under control. And it's largely between Mr. Strenka's doing with input from the board. And I realize that you, Mr. Desso and Mr. Spain, have worked heavily with Mr. Stranko, but it was his expertise that got us to the place that we got us. And to now suddenly, well, now we're in good shape, we don't need you anymore, so long, buddy. I mean, this is this man's job.
There are no easy cuts. It wasn't easy to eliminate a fire marshal. It wasn't easy to eliminate a youth director. This is not easy. We don't do this lightly.
But
You look at the state, you look at the number of layoffs in the state, you look at the layoffs in the county government, you look at what other cities and towns are doing, throughout New York State, throughout the country.
I understand that, but when I, in my budget, suggested that to save some money, we cut the hours of certain jobs, not the jobs completely, but the hours, I was told, oh no, we need those jobs. Those are redundant, well, the assessor's job is not a redundant job, but the other one is that we had plenty of people to have covered that. We don't have another controller. We don't have another qualified, educated, person who's been doing this job for lots and lots, his whole life, practically. And it may be that Mr. Harkin did a good job 10 years ago when it was a smaller town, a smaller budget, less complicated stuff, less government regulations, less reports to have to be done, but there's a huge amount of stuff, as you know, that has to be done. And this is wrong. If we wanted to cut, why didn't we talk about who we should be cutting and where some comfortable cuts could be made? We restored to full-time 2 people who we didn't need to restore to full-time. We made full-time a 3rd person, didn't need to be full-time. All in, and now you're saying, okay, now we're going to save money by cutting out our qualified controller. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And I don't think that this is, gentlemen and lady, I do not think this is purely about budget cut at all.
Well, what would it be then?
I think it's political as much as any other thing that you've
Political?
accused me of being political. Absolutely.
How would this be political?
Because
Mr. Stringer doesn't even live in this county.
I know he doesn't.
He has no political ties in this town.
But he dares help me, Mr. Desso, and I know, and I will say this publicly now, and I haven't before, that you have called him and told him that he's not to help me.
That's a lie,
because I've been
Josephine.
sitting, no, it's not. I was sitting in his office when you did it.
That's a lie, Josephine.
No, it isn't, sir.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yeah.
And
Yes,
so
it
it is very much.
You make things up as you go, Joe. That you really shouldn't do that.
It's not.
The truth.
But anyways, let's move on. There's any other discussion about this? There was a move. There was a second to appointing Mr. Harkin as unsalaried part-time controller. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. All those in favor say. In fact, I'd like a roll call, please.
Councilman Spain?
Aye.
Councilman Bott?
Aye.
Supervisor Ashley?
No.
Councilwoman Huffman?
Aye.
Councilman Desso?
Aye. I make a motion that we put Patricia Ray in as the Director of Finance per budget.
I'll second that. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next one.
I move that we appoint Deputy Receiver of Taxes unsalaried from 1/11 to 12/31/11, Phyllis Devery.
I'll second that. Any discussion?